He has played Gollum, King Kong, and Caesar. Why the hell does Andy Serkis not have an Oscar? War of the Planet of the Apes is directed by Matt Reeves. He also directed the second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, as well as Cloverfield. This movie takes place 2 years after the second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and in this one, Caesar, played by Andy Serkis, has to wrestle with his dark side whilst leading his kind in the midst of war. Don't go in expecting this to be an all-out action film. It really isn't. Based on the title and the trailers, you would think it would be, but it's not. It really matches the tone of the other two films, and I'm glad about that. The acting in this movie was really good, and as always, Andy Serkis was outstanding in his role as Caesar. He did the motion capture work and the voice acting, and like I said in my opening, why does he not have an Oscar? They really need to make a category for motion capture. Speaking of which, I would say the CGI and motion capture in this film is the best of the trilogy, and I guess that's to be expected considering this one comes out in 2017, 2 years after the previous one, and I think roughly 6 years after the first one. It meant that they could do so much more with the apes, and I think they were even more unique in this one. Each ape had their own personality. You were never confused with which one was which I did occasionally have that problem in the first one, sometimes the second one, but in this one I never felt that. Hell, you even forgot sometimes you were watching Apes. Of course, that could have also been because of the dialogue. But either way, that's great. You also have a new ape in this film played by Steve Zahn. Now, where to begin with that one? He is the comic relief in this movie. Some people will really not be able to stand his character at all, but some people will find him hilarious. I would say the awkwardness of his character works really well. That's really funny. However, the dialogue, When I watched the movie with a sold-out crowd, you had a lot of people cracking up, laughing, myself included, at times when he said or did something funny. However, there were times I noticed they tried going for a joke and not many people were laughing. I'll touch on that a little bit more when I get to what I didn't really like about the movie as well. Woody Harrelson portrayed the villain of this film, and the performance was really good, and I had my doubts. In the trailer, you see a part where he goes, "So emotional!" And whenever I saw that, I always laughed it off. My friends laughed it off. I even mocked it a few times. It felt funny and out of place for the franchise, but in context, it works really well. I was very pleased with it, and I was not disappointed at all. I had a couple of small problems with the character development. I'll get to that in a minute. This is by far the best score in the entire trilogy. There's many sequences where there's not any dialogue, or there's very little dialogue anyway, and the music really takes over and captivates you. It builds up the tension, it makes beautiful scenes even more beautiful. So I really need to say that Michael Giacchino did a fantastic job on the music. He's done the score for many films and TV shows, including the previous Planet of the Apes film, The Incredibles, Up, and the TV shows Lost and Alias. Now on to what I didn't really like in the movie. As I said earlier, Steve Zahn's character is funny. However, sometimes it got really annoying and tiresome, and on more than one occasion they used his comedy at the wrong times. Like, you had this really emotional scene with Caesar, and then it goes to the next scene, and Steve Zahn's character is one of the first ones you see, and he does something funny. On its own, that scene is funny, but in context, it just feels out of place, and it kind of just takes away the mood. The tension's like all the way up here, and then just drops all the way down to here. And I can see why some people will really not be able to stand the character at all. And for me, like I said, at times I was fine with him, at times I wasn't, so I was kind of in between. And then you also have the same problem you had with the previous two films, the human characters. They're either good or bad. There's no one in between, there's no one in that grey area. And the humans aren't really in the film as much this time compared to the other two, but there was still no one in that grey area. And then my final complaint with the movie would be from Woody Harrelson's character. Not his performance, but the character. The character's motivation was all explained in one scene, in one bit of dialogue. The acting was incredible, but it felt like they were just talking to you, the audience, and just explaining it so they didn't have to waste time trying to make you understand. I would have liked it if they could have referenced it subtly at first and then made him have to talk about it and not have it seem like he's just telling you a story. I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything. This was a really good movie. I'd say even excellent at times. If it wasn't for the sometimes bad comedic timing with Steve Zahn's character or the underdeveloped human characters, I probably would have liked it even more. I would give War for the Planet of the Apes an 8.1 out of 10. It was a long film, but it was all really good. I'm not sure what I would cut. I think you need to shorten it a little bit. You could have probably made some scenes a bit shorter, still have them in there, but just not last as long. If you like the other two films, you will definitely like this one. It was a nice and fitting end to the trilogy, and I would say for me, I felt it was actually the best one of the three. I went to see it in 3D, and I wouldn't really say it really added anything to it. It didn't take away anything from it, but it didn't add anything to it. There was nothing really that stood out to me. So if you want to save some money, I would say just see it in 2D. So are you planning to see War for the Planet of the Apes, or have you already seen it? What were your thoughts on it? Did you agree with me or disagree with me? Did you like Steve Zahn's character, or did you despise him? Or were you like me and in between? Write your thoughts down in the comments below, like this video, and subscribe to see the next movie review I put up on my channel. Until next time, see ya.